Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, we're about to spectate a particularly ridiculous match of Age of Empires 2. This game is going to be played with the Aegis cheat code on, which means the players will be able to build buildings instantly, research technologies, gather resources, and create units, all of that instantaneously. It's also going to be sudden death, which means once you lose your town center, you're out of the game. Without further ado, let's get this game started. The last free-for-all Aegis sudden death game that I did was super entertaining, and if you're interested, I've got a link to that in the video description below, as well as links to other tutorials, expert games, and more Age of Empires 2 content. Everything you need to know to get started online. Non-manual dexterity, thank you so much for the 33-month resub. Man, it's been almost 3 years. Really appreciate it. So yeah, welcome to the live stream, everybody. For those of you just tuning in, you can actually find my live streaming schedule by going to my Twitch page and scrolling underneath the video player there. And if you follow me on Facebook and Twitter, you will get updates on when I'm streaming next. I'd love to have you there. And of course, let's take a brief moment to introduce the players while they gather all their resources instantaneously. And then I'm going to explain the map a little bit. So we got the Avenger playing as the Red Huns, we have Tech playing as the Green Italians, Sir Logan playing as the Yellow Turks, Toko Raka playing as the Teal Britons, Nitya will be our Blue Incas, Skugfisk will be the Purple Vikings, and Jet Erickson will be the Grey Slavs today. This is a free-for-all game, so only one of these players will be able to win in the end, and it's Michi, which means that the only way to get to your opponent is to actually chop through this thick layer of trees, which of course will actually be much faster than we think it will be, because you chop through trees instantaneously. What's interesting about free-for-all Aegis sudden death, besides everything, is that farms don't actually work with Aegis. It's the only resource in the game that you gather from that isn't instant with villagers. So that means that you're actually going to need most of your economy on farms later. Also, if you screw up your build order, you're in a lot of trouble, because what ends up happening is that there's a finite amount of infinite food resources at the start of the game, like these sheep, forage bushes, wild boar, etc. And then you have to start relying on farms, which are grossly inefficient sources of food in a free-for-all type, sudden death type game like this. Because they don't gather instantly. As we see here, this poor guy is going to be on this farm forever before he drops off his 10 food. So you have to make sure not to exhaust your initial food resources if you are playing on the Aegis game mode. Aegis games are always really fun. It's unfortunate that it's not an official game mode, because then you have to rely on all the other players not to be cheating in some other function. And it's also really easy in a Aegis game to float a ton of wood, especially considering that we're playing on Michi and it encourages people to chop through here. So, looking forward to seeing how this game turns out. Let's go swap over to Jet Erickson's perspective and see what Gray is up to. He'll be the Slavs today. Faster gold mining, faster stone mining, everything. This heavily encourages, faster stone mining particularly heavily encourages some sort of castle drop-esque strategy. And in the later stages of the game, I look forward to seeing some gigantic battles with all the lag. We'll see who can chop to the other person the fastest. It looks like this is a fairly close one, but the Avenger only has 2 villagers on wood. So Tokaraka maybe end up being one of the first people to actually get to someone else's base. Let's see what Jet Erickson's Fog of War is. Right, these guys actually have a very limited amount of space to build, so they are going to have to aggressively chop through there. What a map indeed. If I had time before the stream, I would have edited it to make the tree lines just a little bit thinner. But this does mean that the game actually, these guys have a little bit of time to build up in the early game. And ideally, if Tokaraka does this perfectly, for example, he's going to try and get to 100 villagers about as fast as possible, or maybe even not 100. You just need a lot of farmers in an Aegis game like this, so I'm curious what the optimal amount of villagers is, but you probably need a lot of them, right? And then you'll want to use the lumberjacks to chop into someone's base and probably kill them really, really quickly. I assume that if this is ever a competitive thing and we get a metagame for this, that the optimal build is try and get to the castle age as fast as possible. Try and aggressively chop into someone's base and then rush them with monks. I mean, Tokaraka's got 7,000 gold in the bank, so a monk rush would be certainly appropriate for him. Meanwhile, Sir Logan, already in the Imperial Age at 5 minutes in, he has a lot of money in the bank. Now he just has to chop his way to somebody. This does not actually lead to anything, this just leads to gold, so I think that this will probably be one of the first points of contention, but we'll have to see. Or if Tokaraka is also going to want to rebuild a lumber camp, which is something that makes a pretty huge difference whether or not you're actually playing an Aegis, is you do need to rebuild your lumber camps. Because if we see all the time that the villagers spend walking and bunching up on each other, like, you would actually obliterate this tree line if you replace your lumber camp. So, welcome to stream, Instinct Z4 Instincts, as well as T90. Good to see ya on the stream as well. Awesome-o. Glad to have you guys. Bosaw research complete for Sir Logan, which, by the way, as far as miscellaneous tips for Age of Empires go... Oh, by the way, Turks guy can't cut through the trees, so another tip here would be getting the Imperial Age and then getting the Onager technology, cutting through the trees, and then just killing somebody. When these guys lose their town center, remember, they're out of the game, so getting the Imperial Age quickly and getting some Trebuchets will be absolutely essential to success. Absolutely essential. But as far as miscellaneous tips go, getting Bowsaw like as early as humanly possible is almost always a good idea in Age of Empires 2. It's a super efficient technology. Same thing with Double Bit Axe, but you would delay Double Bit Axe until you start advancing to the Castle Age if you are going for a fast Castle Age build. If you plan on staying in the Feudal Age for a prolonged period of time, get Double Bit Axe as soon as humanly possible. The technology is incredible. Other miscellaneous tips is people generally wait too long, I think, to get Wheelbarrow and Horse Collar in general. So just miscellaneous things to consider, or they just don't make enough villagers, period. In your average non-Aegis game at Age of Empires 2, you do want to have at least 100 villagers, otherwise you're not going to have enough resources to sustain military production consistently. So, yeah, he's like the only guy that can't actually chop through these trees. I mean, he can make some trebs, but Sir Logan's Fast Imperial Age is underwhelming at best. What's the Avenger got at his disposal? Are we going to see a Siege Workshop, Onager technology? He's got 3 Siege Workshops. Holy shit. In the Aegis free-for-all sudden death metagame, there are only 2 resources that matter. Well, 3, I guess. The wood and gold units tend to be really, really strong because farms are such an inefficient source of food that massing siege weapons up like this will be great. The real question on my mind, though, is can the Avenger actually afford the Onager technology? And why is he not buying some food at the market? Get that Onager upgraded researches instantly, my friend, and kill somebody. Kill this guy, or this guy. Make some trebs, cut through the trees. Meanwhile, Nitya at the bottom of the score list. Good lord, he's so far behind tech. Probably because he just doesn't have enough villagers, and he's had a little bit of town center idle time. Van Dutton asks, are you casting with Zero tomorrow? No, I'm not casting with Zach tomorrow, but if he's interested in having me in an escape event, he can just shoot me a message on Skype, and then we can sort something out. But no, no plans for tomorrow at present. Yeah, for some reason, farms are just not affected by Aegis, and it would be a very, very different type of cheat if that was the case. Vikings do get onagers, so I want to see some onager cutting. I don't know why anyone is not getting that technology. Tokaraka now in the Imperial Age. Let's compare some populations. Ooh, this guy's on the new meta. I like to see that. So the Avenger is at 81 population. Tech's at the top, so let's go take a look at that. He's at 114, so it's pretty nuts. And then Nitya is near the bottom with 59. Tokaraka has a lot of long swords. So Tokaraka actually has the smallest economy in the game. I'm almost sure of it at this point. Without having checked everybody, considering the large amount of long swordsmen he has the fewest villagers. And my question is this correct? I don't think he'll be able to sustain unit production at all, so I'm going to say this is absolutely not correct, and he just needs more farms. I mean, he has, like, 5 farmers. Okay, so he's working on it right now. This is good. He's already strip-mined all that gold. No one's researched the Onager technology yet. Everyone is getting capped ram first. Oh, no, he's a Huns. Never mind. He can't do that. But you can, everyone else can get Onager. Champions coming out from Skugfisk. Not using the trebs to cut the trees. Can't believe that no one has actually researched the Onager technology. Oh, God damn it! Ugh! This is the saddest thing I've ever seen. Tech, my friend! You done goofed. You need to get Onager first. What are these guys doing? Tokaraka, though, he's got the Warwolf technology. Alright, so now he's cutting. So this guy, Tokaraka, knows what's up. Kill him! Alright, he's AFK. He's asleep at the wheel. He's getting the blast furnace. No villagers on food. TC's idle. Treb's idle, but wait. There's more. Okay, so this will be the first time that I've ever had a chance to showcase this, but did you know that the Britons have a unique technology? Warwolf. Trebuchets deal blast damage. This is actually pretty sick through cutting through trees. I would say it's pretty sick, but why not make onagers? That's the question that everyone wants answered. However, this is sufficient. I say sufficient, not efficient, because if he wanted to be efficient, he would actually just focus on cutting through the area that he's already doing, rather than opening up whatever this is here. Just pushing down the existing direction you were already planning on doing is definitely plenty. In the meantime, He can get onager. He has a bunch of trebs, though, sitting there. Waiting. Maybe I'll speed up the beginning of this in post. Look at all these houses along the edge. So Sir Logan has actually found a little secret area where he can hide some of his economy. That's actually pretty nice. Bummer he can't use his balance patch, says T9D. My name is actually Resonance, but you can call me Res22, Karanoia. Welcome to the stream, Spooky Sean. Hello, Ornlu. So we're doing some Aegis free-for-all sudden death. Sir Logan, definitely braced for the apocalypse, but he's going to have to watch out for some trebs. In the meantime, I have absolutely no idea why no one is getting the onager technology, because almost every civ in the game has them. Alright, Jet Erickson, he's been watching my videos. He knows exactly how this works. Look at this guy. He's even controlling it. But he did need his sheep because Jet Erickson is environmentally friendly. Okay. The battle is about to begin. Now, the best part, though, is that even though a lot of these players are neglecting all the tools at their disposal, the good news is that this is still infinitely faster than your average game of Age of Empires 2. Now he's cutting. A little bit closer, Jet. A little bit closer. Do it. Good. Kill him now. Yes. Come on, buddy. Alright, in the meantime, on the other side of the map. Yeah, this will be a little while. Red, chopping here manually. Yellow's... It actually sucks to be the Turks in this. I mean, on one hand, you get artillery, and this is actually kind of crazy. This will probably be the thumbnail for this. Whoever can kill Sir Logan is easily my hero. No one knows why there are no onagers from anybody in this game, except for this guy. So I think that Jet Erickson... Oh, he's got... Aha! He's got the fear. Or he's trying to not reveal that he has an onager there. I'm very, very curious what Jet Erickson's plan is. But he's capable of cutting through this. I mean, in the meanwhile, Tech is actually cutting into here, but he's going to walk straight into some bombard towers, so that's going to be really, really bad for him. Holy shit. Check out these Slavs. Siege units 15% cheaper. And he's in there. Tech. Chopping the wrong way. Looking for Sir Logan. But honestly, how the hell do you kill Sir Logan? Because Sir Logan can't chop, so he's kind of trapped in his own base. And now you're about to get siege done. 17 minutes in the game. I think Tech's actually in deep trouble, and he could very easily die here. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Skugfisk is actually chopping in here. So Nidya's in deep trouble too. His army on the wrong side of the base. So the action begins. Green now has to retreat, full well realizing, oh shit balls, I didn't make any military units. Gray's housed. He's coming in here with a mono siege army. Nice, nice. He remembered his siege engineer's technology. He's got the chemistry. Alright, so what's the problem with this army comp? Super weak to bombard cannons. What civ has bombard cannons? Oh god, the Italians have bombard cannons. Absolute disaster. So that could be a huge problem if Tech makes a bombard cannon in 2017. But bombard cannons in 2017? That's crazy. Actually, if Tech makes a military unit in 2017... Oh my god! He's making military units, alright! Here comes the Condottiero swarm! Will he be able to get in range? There's honestly not that many heavy scorpions, but the onagers are just killing these guys as they bunch up on each other. Meanwhile, battle going on over here, but Nidya has not responded yet. This is why I chose these settings. We had a little bit of a slowdown in the beginning, but it's all good, it's all good. Tech getting absolutely obliterated here. His entire army, you can't deal with the siege death ball, but some huge onager shots on the part of Tech, taking out a large group of siege onagers, and now he has to watch out for those bombard cannons. It's worth noting, bombard cannons do not get siege engineers as the Italians, therefore they're missing one range and are a lot worse in a matchup like this. So it's going to come down to some good micro, and it's Age of Empires 2 HD Edition, and there are 7 players in here, so I don't know how good the micro is going to be. Let me see a good onager shot. Let me see it. Let me see it. Come on. That was alright. Alright, what's going on over here? Lots of bombard cannons being thrown down the drain. I think Gray is going to get repelled. Show me a good onager shot. Acceptable. Try again in a little bit. Meanwhile, on the left side of the map, mono bombard cannon army. This is when you make like 5 boyars and you just win the game, right? Bombard cannons have minimum range. They're so weak to heavy cavalry units. Oh, he made way more than 5 boyars. That's my man. In the meantime, I would say that the lack of siege support for Nitya's army and the fact that his Arbalest are in melee range, he's not using attack move, is going to be a disaster. Because here comes the champions, just wrecking this army, not taking advantage of the range in these bad boys. Nitya actually missing a lot of upgrades, and Skugfisk, the Shadowfish, is in here. How good are Boyars? Pretty good, but he's afraid to engage because of the pikemen. They're pikemen though, they're not halberdiers, so they only have a plus 22 attack bonus versus cavalry units, and that is... I'm not gonna say negated is the wrong word, but it's very heavily reduced by the Boyar's heavy melee armor, so Jet wants to take an engagement where his heavy scorpions get to do some pass-through damage on the slow pierce armor unit before he engages. But ideally what you do is you send the Boyars in, you go for the bombard cannons, while your heavy scorpions focus on the pikes. He's kinda doing that, but... it's a messy battle. Meanwhile, Nitya needs to get Bracer. He's in a lot of trouble. If Skugfist sends any additional siege support, then we're in deep trouble. Meanwhile, we've got a huge battle on the top side of the map. Don't think Aegis affects repairs now. That does not. It's gonna be a pretty crazy game. The Avenger with a very, very large army. No Paladin upgrade out for him, which is pretty curious. Tokaraka has a very narrow choke point. But oh! Here comes the elite Genoese crossbowman as the counter. This is Age of Empires 2 for StarCraft 2 pros. Look at how fast this game is shifting back and forth with the counter units. Tech dropping the elite Genoese crossbowman. I love this. Archer with attack bonus for his cavalry. Great answer here to the Boyars, especially considering the Boyars have lower pierce armor than a Paladin, makes this even better. Jet Erickson getting repelled. Nitya just gonna resign. Or no, he didn't resign. He got defeated, actually. Nice. So Nitya is our first victim of the day. GG Nitya. I think he did a good job trying, but this is not a very good competitive game mode. Poor Nitya, poor Nitya. If I had to say where he went wrong for future reference, I don't think Halberdiers are the optimal opening. I mean, let's see how much money this guy has in the bank, because I imagine that Nitya had gold to spare. He did not. Where'd all the gold go? He's got a full gold mine there. Yeah, I don't know. Halberdiers don't really make that much sense to me. I think that could have easily been a lot of other things. He's the Incas, right? And he's adjacent to... He didn't know that he was adjacent to the Vikings, but once you see them, this is Aegis. You can tech into whatever you want super fast. So slingers are a legitimate thought. Champions are a legitimate thought. He had options, I feel like, that weren't really being taken advantage of, so... I don't know. But poor Nitya. He tried. He had some really close battles here with Skugfisk, but he will be our first player down the drain. Meanwhile, Tokaraka has got a pretty small economy, which I think will bite him later. This is really sad to look at. Well, stream Danish Cabbage Farmer. Hey, Cream Bananas, welcome to the live stream. Real pleasure to see ya. Cream Bananas is one of our streamers at Outpost Games, actually. So he's been helping us test not only SOS but the Hero platform. Welcome to stream, Crean. Those of you who are interested, Crean also happens to be a very wonderful streamer in himself. Click in his username. Meanwhile, we have a very close battle here between Jet Erickson and Tech. But I can't help but feel like Tech is probably coming out on top here. So really what he has to worry about is Sir Logan coming in on the action. But Sir Logan, I mean, he's the Turks. He's completely isolated. It really sucks to be the Turks and the Huns on a map like this where it really heavily depends on your ability to cut. I mean, Tokaraka has probably the best choke point I've ever seen for the Britons in Age of Empires 2 history as far as value goes. So far forcing the Avenger to make mangonels, which should probably use them to kill the Longbowmen first, but it's pretty sad to look at. Honestly, like, what do you do if you're the Avenger? Well, if you're the Avenger, that means that you actually have slightly more accurate trebuchets, so you should be using that to chop through the tree line and open up another flank. The problem with that, though, is that's going to take forever, and it's really micro-intensive, but it's something he's going to have to do anyway, and I think Tech is in deep, deep trouble. Oh yeah, because Tech already partially cut into Yellow's base. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That's one of the things I like about Black Forest, is that Onagers can be a double-edged sword. You cut through, and then now you've opened up another place for your opponent, and here comes the instant Onager counter by Tech. Very nice, wiping out this whole army. Now, I have to say, while I like Sir Logan coming in here trying to be cute and dogpiling on Tech, is this one of the worst matchups for him possible? The Italians versus the Turks? The Condottiero resists gunpowder attacks. It's a fast, powerful infantry unit. Also, against a mass army of Genoese crossmen, sure, Tech's missing a lot of upgrades, but no, this is an absolute disaster if I've ever seen one. This is not going to happen at all. Tech even has masonry, the madman. The madman. Speaking of the madman, Skugfisk has light cavalry. So I have Skug Fisk. I consider your other options. Where else will you go from here? How are you going to get to these town centers? Meanwhile, all's quiet on the red front. I mean, Tokaraka should actually eventually be able to take this down. It's just that Tokaraka's eco is oh so tiny. Oh so tiny indeed. Yes, Tokaraka at a whopping 61 population. Well, that has to be the saddest thing I've ever seen. I would really like to know why he doesn't, like, shift queue more villagers. I'd like to think that the golden rules of Age of Empires 2 still kind of apply on Aegis. They just apply on crack very quickly. In that an economy of fewer than... I mean, what, he has like 40 villagers? I mean, he has fewer than 40 villagers. He's got 35? I think that the secret to success is you boom really hard. Oh shit, Tech died. I just realized that Jed Erickson took a large army of boyars. Just went straight underneath that town center and took him out. That's why this game won't go on forever, because once your town center's down, you're out of the game. Nice. So Tech, our second player, believe it or not, was actually defeated by Jed Erickson with the snipe. He actually cut through here. Wow, very, very clever indeed. So anyway, I think Tokaraka's going to die very, very soon, assuming the game doesn't go out of sync. Considering that his economy is just really tiny. Like, he needs to make more villagers, that way he can sell food, sell wood for gold, and continue creating military units. Seriously, great play here by Jet Erickson. Hopefully the game continues, and then he can go swinging on the right side, maybe kill Skugfisk, who I think should be wary of the opponent that he's right next to. Welcome to stream, Heir to the Iron Throne. This is a free-for-all... Why is he save and exiting? You hit continue game, dude. Continue game, please. This is a free-for-all, sudden death game with Aegis turned on. Nitya, not pressing any button. Nitya needs to press continue. Well, if he drops, it's not a big deal. I mean, he should have left the game a long time ago, if I'm being honest, because he already lost, so he should just be watching the stream. So he should just drop, and ideally the game will continue. Great! Phew. No out of sync or anything. Hopefully the game continues. But in the future, if you're playing in my stream and you happen to die, just don't spectate in the game. It tends to cause a lot of stability issues, so just tune into the stream. It's the same thing. Alright, so Teal's in a lot of trouble, because he's got like no eco of any description, can barely afford to make military units, now making some pikemen, and he's getting bodied by what appears to be a very weak army of Huns units. I mean, I say this, but the Avengers offensive is so unbelievably weak that if Tokaraka dies to these heavy archers, it's just not going to. That'd suck. That battle's not really going places, but speaking of things that are going places, yellow is in. Meanwhile... Yeah, actually, no, this is just another front. Like, green's already dead. So my question is when is gray gonna go for the purple throat? And it looks like pretty soon. That's why I like this castle placement here. Might catch some onagers by surprise as they cut through the tree line. Tokaraka will honestly be able to defend against this, surrounding his town center with houses just to make sure that no paladins or Tarkans get in there, which is a smart play on his part. Stone walls would be better, but the dude's got no money whatsoever. Really, what he needs are more villagers, and I've never seen this happen in the history of Age of Empires 2. But his town center is surrounded by houses, so spawning more villagers, I mean, I guess he can ungarrison them out here? I don't know. His eco's too small, though. The Britons actually get the Halberdier upgrade. You should really get that. Meanwhile, the Avenger's in a lot of trouble, investing all of his resources to try and fend off the Turks' menace. Turks must be both terrible and unbelievably broken in a game mode like this, because you have the artillery bombard cannons at the other side of a tree line, and versus the Huns, I don't know what the Huns are going to do. Because the Huns don't have onagers, they can't cut through the trees to get to this siege line. Ugh, absolute disaster. Sir Logan resorting to making... The fuck is this? He's making crossbowmen the madman and regular skirmishers as the Turks. Never thought I'd see this in the history of Age of Empires 2. But it's finally happening today. I think Red's in deep trouble. The line's inching forward. If you're a sneaky little bastard, what you do is you chop just close enough and you tread down his town center from the tree line. Tokaraka on the offensive with Britons pikemen with a villager count of 35. On the offensive. Meanwhile, Purple has taken all of Blue's farms, and he's content to sit back, relax, and wait for Gray to come to him because he knows that Gray's coming. Gray will be there any minute now. Nitya asks, is sudden death the one where, sudden death the one always with the text for everything directly made? No, sudden death is when you lose your town center, you lose the game. I tried to explain that in the lobby, I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. But sudden death is when you lose your town center, you lose the game. Aegis is when everything is created instantly. But don't worry, I do plenty of normal games as well as crazy games. I just know that people tend to enjoy the ones with the batshit insane settings. If you haven't enjoyed this game, I would really appreciate it if you take the time to share it around, leave a thumbs up and a comment. Helps a lot with the exposure. Hopefully one of the more entertaining games I've posted and a more unique set of settings. So I feel like Yellow doesn't need to push through this choke point, and I don't know if the Trebs are in range over here, but if they're not, like, he can just cut in a little more, maybe even just bring a couple villagers in here, and then bombard cannon that town center from the safety of your own side. The Avenger is absolutely 100% dead. I want to be clear here. He's getting straight up arsoned by Tokuraka, decimating that economy. Well, Tokuraka used this as an opportunity to make more villagers. Well, he did use this as an opportunity to actually unleash his town center, so his town center is open. It is vulnerable now to Tarkans, but now he can create more villagers. Sir Logan, in comparison, at 196 population, the macro in this guy, but he's so gold dependent. That's why I wasn't sure if the Turks are OP on this mode, because of bombard towers, the artillery. He's making skirmishers. That has to be pretty terrible, right? But he has a large, unbreakable army of siege that I don't think the Huns can defeat. I just don't think they can. So Sir Logan, never seen this in the history of Age of Empires 2. The Turks are about to beat the Huns in a late-game macro war in which the Turks are using regular skirmishers and crossbowmen to great effect. What the shit? I can't help but shake the feeling that Hussars would be fine here because there are elite skirms. The trick is to engage the elite skirmishers with the Hussars and not attack the Halbs. Can't believe this is working. In the meantime, Purple, cutting along the edge of the map, he's flexing, considering going in. He's got his wall of houses. He's biding his time. Gray also biding his time. But what exactly are either of these two waiting for? That is the question. Not getting any younger here. In the meantime, the Scout Cavalry are here. Oh man, and the Avenger is out of the game. Yellow is slowly inching the line forward, but the Avenger, with his last dying breath, unleashes a horde of almost fully upgraded Scout Cavalry. What a badass. Actually, are these fully upgraded? They might just be. And he almost got away with it too. Sir Logan, remembering that he gets Hussar for free, is now in here. And with Red out of the game, Tokuraka lives to fight another day. But he does not live long enough to get the halberdier upgrade. Sell some food and wood at the market, my friend. It's worth every penny. Either that or get into this guy's base. He's got some gold. He's got 2 gold mines left. What? People should really be taking advantage of that. So now the question is, does Yellow go through Tokuraka's base or does he go through here? I think you go through Tokuraka's base from a strategic standpoint. I don't think it makes sense to push through all of this. You're going to sustain heavy losses, honestly, even with all the Turks' range. Having to go through these Genoese crossmen, bombard cannons, castles. If they pick off anything, and they will, he's got quite a large amount of static defense here. Not going to work. Also, Jet Erickson, not born yesterday, not with those wrinkles, has some heavy scorpions in this choke point to protect himself. Meanwhile, we see the saddest battle of Age of Empires 2 I've ever seen. Oh god. People often ask me how good are heavy scorpions. In this map, it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. Heavy scorpions are a situational unit, but check out this pass-through damage. They're not even being used that optimally here. Look at that. Ooh. Oh, actually, you just missed like every shot. Ooh. Ooh. It's pretty nice. Here's the problem with heavy scorpions. They die really, really easily to onagers and bombard cannons. The Vikings do get siege engineers, so extra range does allow them to snipe the heavy scorps, but no bombard cannons here. I think heavy scorpions are pretty good. I think that it's actually advantageous to Purple in this situation to widen the choke point, so he should really consider doing that. Ooh, that was a really good siege onager shot. Well played by Jet Erickson, the monster, the maniac, the legend. Here's a random piece of trivia. Did you guys know that Jet Erickson has his own YouTube channel where he has been doing a fully voice-acted playthrough of the second Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, Explorers of the Sky? Did you know that in... was it episode 3? I don't know. I voice-acted the Drowsy, so if you guys are interested, there you go. I appreciate the really positive reception to the after-hours style content as well as the content I do for other games. Really appreciate the support, guys. The after hours content is just something interesting that I can do in my free time without interfering with other recording, because I play video games all the time with my friends. So it's great to see that a lot of you guys found that entertaining. Those of you that care, recently I've been on a Chromie binge. As when I play HOTS, I just go on like a binge of playing the same hero for like 30 games in a row, and then I move on to the next one. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, Jet Erickson has absolutely decimated purple, because purple is in a very thin choke point that he could consciously make larger. Now, you might be wondering, why is he... Ooh, nice. Why is he not making this choke point larger? What is the madman thinking? Well, I think Skugfist's logic is that... Ooh, this guy's so tricky. Is that his cavalry are hot garbage. 60 HP light cavalry. These are fully upgraded, by the way. The Vikings have some of the worst heavy cavalry, light cavalry in the game. So, why he's not widening the choke point? Because he has nothing to charge down the siege weapons. But keeping it thin? Like, does that really favor him? Because the Slavs have way better siege, man. Way better siege. They have siege onagers, heavy scorpions. I feel like maybe a few heavy scorpions for purple, not out of the question. So anyway, yellow is now engaging versus teal. Teal still does not have halberdier, but it's okay because yellow is the Turks, and yellow only gets regular skirmishers. Ay, ay, ay. Haveldarakas, how is Tokaraka still alive, lol? Because he knows something you don't. This man's on the new meta. Don't need halberdier. Don't need it to counter the Turk skirmishers. Tokaraka's actually been having a pretty good game. I gotta give him credit where credit's due. Oh my... See? Even though Tokaraka really needs to make more villagers, look at these Trebuchet snipes! That is insane! Warwolf! I have never seen Warwolf actually do anything in all my years of Age of Empires 2. What did The Forgotten come out, like 2013? I've never seen that shit before. And Tokaraka... What day is it today? It is June 10th, 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first day I've seen Warwolf work. That was pretty sick. Oh, man. Oh, show me the value, my friend. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, purple is like, I don't want to deal with this. This guy's got Hussar. It's cheating. Slavs with their nice late game trash. I hope this is a PSA for a couple of things this game. One, you're playing on the wrong settings. This is clearly where we want the tournaments to be. Sponsors, you know what to do. 2, Warwolf is great. 3, heavy scorpions are great. There's an asterisk at the end of both those statements, though. Right sometimes. I encourage people to experiment with units and whatnot because balance in HD hasn't really been completely figured out. Like, it's going to take a long time for the metagame to settle. We've seen AOC's metagame shift despite having no balance changes over, over a decade. That being said, the metagame is the way it is for a reason, and in your average game of Age of Empires 2, I don't think you'll get much value out of Warwolf. If you're playing Deathmatch, though... this is a really sick unit. Did you know that Scorpions and Heavy Scorpions have an attack bonus for all Elephant units? This is extremely relevant in Deathmatch, where we see War Elephants being utilized very commonly. So Tokaraka, will he be able to kill 3 Trebuchets with 1 shot, my man? It doesn't work that way. Alright, he gets another shot though, right? Well, let's not focus the Treb. And he's down for the count! Tokaraka, our next player eliminated, but his Trebuchet still on auto attack. Can he kill 3 Trebs with 1 shot? No! Sir Logan wins. Tokaraka down for the count, but it was so cool to see Warwolf in action. Meanwhile, Jet! Who thought Jet was going to win at the start of the game? I really should have asked everyone to put their bets in here. Jet, the Pokemon Master, takes down yet another life. The Vikings down. And now, only 2 players remaining. 2 players, 1 spectator, and a lot of lag. So Logan's like, Gray, where are you at? Does he not actually know? He probably doesn't know. It is now down to Gray versus Yellow. We're on the waiting screen. Tokaraka should leave the game ideally.
Quit touching me.
And stop spectating and just go watch in the stream chat. Hopefully he's going to do that. And it looks like he is. Great. So we're back into the game itself. Let's do a little bit of, thanks so much, Urban Cover for the $6. He just wants me to screw this up. You see what he asked me? The troll. Urban Cohort says, Denise sees the fleece. Denise sees the fleas. At least Denise could sneeze and feed the freeze the fleas. Nailed it. Normally I butcher those. Okay. So let's do a little bit of Civ matchup analysis. How good are the Turks versus the Slavs. Where you at can see you pings. It's like two guys in complete darkness who know they need to fight each other, but they have no idea where they are, and they're just like, yo, where are you at? I'm over here, bro. No, seriously, where are you at? Like, I still can't tell. As far as matchups go, this is really interesting. So, the Turks have an unfathomable amount of bullshit static defense and range. Artillery, busted. Bombard towers, busted. Skirmishers, not busted. They're about as far from busted as it gets. So, what does that mean? I feel like Jet Erickson is favored from a throwing bodies at each other standpoint, but it's going to be very difficult to actually get to this town center, because these have 8+5 range on these bombard towers. They could very easily... I don't know, I mean, if Jet Erickson wants to get some boyars underneath this town center, he's going to run into a lot of trouble. I don't know if he'll be able to do it. I mean, bombard towers don't one-shot boyars, but they do kill them in 2 hits. So it's going to be very difficult for him to do. But what's this? What's this, Sir Logan? Does he have the secret technology? He does. This is what I call value. This is some Age of Empires 2 AI level trade line here. 8 gold. 8 gold per trip. This is sick. The fact that the Avengers market is up, oh my god, that really seriously matters. But there's a market in Skug's Fist base, so if Jet Erickson wants to do this dance, he's all good to go. Jet Erickson, he's cut through here, he's infiltrated. Well, welcome to stream, Delta USA. Did I miss any other messages? It's like the Ottomans versus the Russians. Hey. Welcome to stream as well, Ray, Eagle, and Phoenix. What a game. Okay, so when is someone gonna notice that Nitya has been hoarding all this delicious wealth? He's got all these gold mines at his disposal, and nobody knows about them. Nitya hiding it offshores. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter if Sir Logan has a trade line, because Jet Erickson can very easily just strip mine this and be good to go. So, now we just have to wait for these titans to get to each other, and that's why I consciously chose map size 6, and also why I consciously chose sudden death when doing Aegis. All that needs to happen is that Jet Erickson needs to get some units underneath this town center. I might do a little bit of editing and skip ahead about 2 minutes here. If it turns out nothing happens, we'll have to find out. Turks with no gold late game is unfathomably bad. But then again, he's got a couple trade cards, so maybe he can do something here. Yeah, definitely still need a little bit of an eco. Welcome to stream as well, the Black Winds and Hyuna OP. Good to see you, good to see you. No problem, Togaraga. No one actually plays Sudden Death Free-For-All Aegis. Although maybe they should. Jet Erickson making the play. So what do you do in a situation like this? This is the stalemate, classic Western cowboy situation. What do you do strategically? Which is relevant, of course, when the tournament scene becomes nothing but this. I do think that you want to open up some strange little flanks, additional areas to attack from. So I like that Jet Erickson, coming from Nietzsche's base, moving in over here slowly. However, Sir Logan, not born yesterday, does know this is coming. Thank you so much, Melted Cat, for the 299 bits. Really appreciate it, man. Always a pleasure to have you. One time I had a bunch of my friends over at my house, and we were doing a little League of Legends LAN party, and I queued up. And Melted Cat was queuing up with his friends at the same time. Complete coincidence. Neither of us knew each other were queuing, because I have a lot of people on my friends list in League of Legends, and we actually got matched against each other in normals. And my friends and I believe the way to have fun in MOBA games is to not solo queue, and is generally speaking to play it with your friends and do some stupid troll builds. I regret to inform that Melted Cat and his friends did successfully out-troll us. We won the game, but we lost the war. We were out-memed very hard. They had a jungle Caitlyn. They had like a top full AD Janna. So, despite our team comp being an absolute joke, I think we had something like support Karthus or whatever, but yeah, we did get very hard out-memed by Melted Cat there, so. Meanwhile, Tech, still getting some kills in the grave. So Sir Logan, the reason that he's doing this is because he's looking for a way into Jet Erickson's base, and this is the closest way to do it. Interestingly though, Jet Erickson has the opposite approach, and he's trying to find the furthest way into Sir Logan's base. Now if Jet chops through here, It'll actually be in a fairly good position, but it's very smart for Sir Logan to put these outposts here. If you actually do just play Michi or Black Forest and the game goes super late, I recommend that you do put outposts along the edge of the tree line so you know where your opponent's chopping. Jet Erickson actually still has an army of heavy scorpions here, which should catch a rogue army of hussars. See, look at all these losses. Tech, still getting kills from the grave. It is correct, I think, for Sir Logan to try and take this straight-up fight. He has much better long-range siege potential to snipe some town centers. So I do think he wants to do this. Whereas I think Jet Erickson, from a strategy standpoint, does want to chop across the map and try and sneak some boyars in there and snipe that town center if he can. Amalika says, lately it's impossible to have fun in a MOBA without your friends. I kind of feel that way. I think that the people who don't appreciate MOBA games don't have friends to troll with. I think it's best played in a 5-stack, in some sort of 5-stack party. I think that's the way to really enjoy them. They typically have very toxic communities, and I don't really enjoy playing solo queue ranked, but I know some people like to suffer, so by all means. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. On the stream, you are my son. Yeah, you had some great Warwolf Trebuchet shots, Dokaraka. That was pretty interesting to watch. So now, Sir Logan is of course aware of this. Look at these map hacks. This guy researched Town Patrol. He's in there. I mean, okay, look. If Jet Erickson can take out this market, that's all of Sir Logan's gold. And by all of it, I mean, like, this is such an inefficient trade line. Unbelievably inefficient. Has Sir Logan even noticed this yet, is the question. And where is the siege undergoing? Meanwhile, Sir Logan, honestly sustaining significant losses. Where's this onager going? Has he even noticed? Well, now he's under attack. Oh, and here comes the instant castle! Oh, and here comes the instant boyars! Where's he going? You should go for the market first. Or should you? Or should you just go straight for the town center? But no. Sir Logan has no stone, so he can't build towers and walls. But he does have a wall of buildings here. So here comes Jet Erickson going for the market, I think. I think, right? I mean, you can't tell. He's going somewhere. Jet Erickson, he's going to the left. There's nothing to the left. There is a thing up here, though, of great interest. We will watch your army of boyars with great interest. Jet Erickson's like, I'll try going to the left. That's a good trick. Where is he going? Oh, no. Jet Erickson looking for a hole that doesn't exist. Absolute unmitigated disaster. Where is Jet Erickson going? I love the instantaneous castle in the trade line. Like, that's something that you can only get in these Aegis games. I can't anticipate myself doing this too often. In the future, we're probably not doing Michi. But I did want to do this, though, because the last one was really short, so I wanted to showcase the other side of Aegis, which is the what happens when the game goes super long. But the game can't go on forever because of sudden death. You just need to snipe the town center. It can't be that hard. What's unfortunate about this, though, is that Sir Logan has very little initiative because he is the Turks and has no real ability to cut through the trees. And unlike the Huns, he has a super inaccurate trebuchet, so kind of sucks. With this market going down, Sir Logan might lose this war of attrition. Dun dun dun. Initialix is looking for a hole that doesn't exist, indeed. Yeah, does Jet Erickson know where Yellow's base is yet? That is the question, actually. Maybe that's why he went to the left. You know, he actually kind of doesn't. I mean, I think he had a reasonable idea, but he didn't know for sure. He may have been confused by these buildings, too. So it's very possible that Jet Erickson, like, didn't think that this was Yellow's base? I don't know. Regardless, Yellow does have to keep pushing the line forward. If Yellow wants to win this game, he's going to have to do it this way. Gray has static defense, but I mean, he's just a couple artillery shots away from going down. I don't know how this game's going to end, honestly, because Jet Erickson has to get through the most disgusting defense I've ever seen in existence. But Jet Erickson is the only person who's capable of cutting. So, I'm probably going to do for YouTube purposes, we're probably going to cut out like 5 to 10 minutes of this. If you're watching live, you're going to have to watch me suffer for a little bit, as these players figure out what to do. What am I looking at? Meanwhile, in an alternate reality, 1 Hussar, 1 Dream, countered by 10 shift-queued Slavic crossbowmen? What? In this case, do you make like a couple heavy cav archers? Like, what, 8 damage because they don't get bracer? 2 plus 4 is 6. You're doing 2 damage a hit? You're doing 2 damage a hit? Is that worth the gold? It's a lot of gold. Seems bad. You make heavy cav archers? Heavy cav archers have... Slavs get heavy cav archers, right? I'm not... Yeah, they do. They're just really bad. That you would never make in any other circumstance. But if you want to kill the Hussars faster, you're talking about fringe, useless information. Heavy cav archer would be better. It's 2 more attack, which means you're dealing 4 damage a hit instead of 2. Make a couple of those, I think you're fine. Alternatively, if you want to be a cheapskate and save gold, you just make a couple of skirms, and I think you wouldn't kill them that much faster. Oh, it's actually still a market to trade with. Very, very nice. Well, if you're Jet Erickson, what do you do? I mean, look, Jet's gonna win this game if he can like push over here, take out this market, and not do anything too crazy. He's just running low on money. No one has noticed that Nidya has been hoarding all this gold seriously, like Nidya's base. I think one thing you have to keep in mind in a free-for-all game is that the moment that you... like, the first player that's going to die probably has a lot of extra resources in his base that maybe he wasn't even aware of yet. I don't know why Jet Erickson is so insistent on going this direction. Zarian says, can I take you some... can I take this time to thank you for posting in the Escape Discord? Really helps me find streams. Oh, I don't do that at all. I'm not responsible for that, but... I'm glad to hear that it helped you find the stream, Zarian, but I have nothing to do with that. I don't know who implemented the bot, and I have no control over that. Well, we've reached a little bit of a stalemate. In the meantime, wow, I've actually seen everything today. So it is an hour and 5 minutes in the game. We have Turkish spearmen with no defense upgrades versus Slavic heavy scorpions. Now, I would like you to name a more iconic, terrible matchup of units. That is pretty bad. I mean, obviously Celts scorpions are better because they fire faster, but yeah, these spearmen are can be really, really bad. I don't think you ever would make spearmen in this situation, right? Like, are spearmen better versus boyars than, like, hussars are? Maybe they are? I don't know. Spearmen, like, don't have that much of an attack bonus, and they have, like, such shit everything else. Are hussars... maybe someone in the chat can answer me this. Are hussars better versus boyars than spearmen? Or just in a generalist sense of the word, because, you have to think about it from a strategic standpoint, too. Spearmen would be worse versus everything else, and in every other situation. They're slower, too. So, we have to give a spearman plenty of bonus points. Jet Erickson actually taking some damage on his base, perhaps focusing too hard on this front. But Sir Logan has nothing to finish the job. Here comes the hussars. Araga, I know they have plus 15 attack bonus versus cavalry, but is that still... I mean, do you still make spearmen versus boyars? Or do you make hussars versus boyars? I mean, I guess it's an interesting thought, though. No, because you do probably still make spearmen versus boyars, right? Yeah, No, Jan Apple's right, because boyars have so much defense that you would actually need to make the spearmen. Because the attack bonus is applied after the minimum damage, so that's why skirms deal more than 1 damage to each other. So if you're dealing with boyars as the Turks, it's actually correct to make spearmen, assuming you have no gold. If it's a hussar versus hussar fight, though, I actually think that you just make your own hussars rather than spearmen. Like, I don't think the attack bonus is worth it, because these guys both have 0 Dura armor, so you're still like trading back and forth. But your spearmen are useless just in general. Like, they barely deal any damage to anything. So I think I'd make hussars versus hussars in the late game in this matchup, but I think that you actually do have to make spearmen versus boyars, because boyars have, I think, 6 Dura armor, so the hussar is doing nothing. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, no, that's true. So, alright, the more you know. If you're ever in a situation where you're the Turks and you have no gold, make spearmen to deal with the boyars, just because of the way attack bonuses work. No, hussar versus hussar fight, though, I feel like you would make hussars, though, and not spearmen. This is a huge waste of resources. He shouldn't do this. This game is not over yet. Well, Sir Logan pushing in. Jet Erickson has a shitload of money. He has, like, no pop space. And that's because he spent it all on hussars. Does that mean he's just gonna, like, lose his town center? I mean, I don't think so. Maybe this would be more exciting if in the future I make this, like, a standard victory thing and people are, like, hiding their wonder. But I wanted them to try and go for the town centers. I mean, Jet Erickson will be able to defend against this without that much difficulty. It's just so sad to see the Turks in the late game with no gold, having to make skirmishers, actually being a situation where spearmen are good. Spearmen with no defense upgrades are pretty bad. At least get plate mail armor because that costs no gold. We can all take a brief moment to admire the Slavic wonder while these two slap it out. Ooh, spicy. Is this the optimal use of gold? Well, 90 HP is pretty good. One of the reasons why Cision added Sipahi into the game... I'll probably not edit out any of this, actually, because people seem to really enjoy D90's absurdly long Forest Nothing game, so maybe people will enjoy this, too? And if you're just curious about the ending, then you just skip ahead a little bit. So, Cision added Sipahi to the game for a couple reasons, but one of them was actually so the Turks had something to deal with, like, versus the Mongols in the late game. Because the Turks don't really have a good answer to things like Mengadai, like really strong cavalry archer-esque units. Or things like Berber's camel archers is a good example. Like, the Turks don't do very well versus those. Why? Well, Janissaries are fairly inaccurate, hand cannoneers fairly inaccurate at range, and no elite skirmisher for the Turks. And assuming that the player who's massing up these very powerful heavy cavalry archers, which are really only going to be Mengadai most of the time, it'd be very easy for him to mix in some sort of units into his army to stop your hussars from getting to his guys, therefore absolutely destroying your life. So, by giving the Turks Sipahi, it kind of gives them a tool that they can use in that matchup, so that's like a fun little piece of trivia. People often tell me that Sipahi is way too niche of a technology, and it's really weird, and they're not sure why it exists in the game. Well, now you know, and it is still a niche and very strange technology, that is for absolute certain. So here comes the Boyarmobile. I think I like Boyars here better than Cavaliers. The question is how good is HD unit pathing? Turns out to be pretty bad. Jet Erickson, I mean, can he do it? Are there enough bombard towers here? I mean, this is why bombard towers are so slow and inaccurate, because otherwise they're hideously... Holy quick wall, Batman! Sir Logan... That's actually not that impressive because it's Aegis. Ah, shit. He totally would have won the game there, too. I'm gonna be in this game for a while, man. These guys just stuttering in here. I mean, there aren't that many situations where you'd make the heavy cav archers as the Turks, but Sipahi is pretty respectable technology. I just think that you need heavy cav archer first. I mean, it's interesting. Like, are they better here than hand cannoneers? Because that's a lot of gold. Nah, indeed, Corbig. But I'm keeping it in, man. You guys want to see some slap fights? People seem to enjoy the longer, stupider games, where the settings are ridiculous and you never know how it's going to end, as opposed to the super educational ones. But I like to throw those in anyway because we're supposed to be learning. My goal ultimately is to make Age of Empires 2 and other games more approachable for people. And if that means showing you, ooh, see, that's my boy. See, he knows. He knows. This is cost efficient. You don't need to spend any gold on this. We're supposed to be learning. And now we're learning that plus 15 attack bonus versus cavalry, it really matters when you're dealing with something that's 6 Durant armor. If these things had 0 Durant armor, I wonder if the story would be different. It's weird. I think I have a game on my YouTube channel where I had to make experiment as the Turks, and it was correct, and that will happen at some point. It's just interesting to see those. And as far as making skirmishers go here, I mean, they're just terrible in every respect, but Sir Logan has no gold. He's getting kinda... Oh, it's interesting. Is he focus firing down the castle, not the town center? Jet Erickson has masonry and what appears to be architecture as well, or is it just masonry plus hoardings? I can't tell. Ooh, well, this army is going to get routed, so how will Jet Erickson come out on top here? People often ask me, what is the worst match of Age of Empires 2 you've ever played or seen? So, I didn't play in this game, but at one point, Teslano live-streamed a free-for-all game of Forest Nothing on slow speed. Everybody was the Mayans. The map size was ludicrous, and he was doing it with my friends, and he was live streaming it in his Twitch page. Why is this the worst match I've ever seen? Well, the Mayans gather resources 20% slower, and it's on slow speed, and ludicrous map size, so it took them... I think it took about 4 hours of in-game time or something like that to find each other. Or it was less than 4 hours in-game time, but the game went on for about 5 hours in-game time. And this was not in the expansions. This was just in regular HD edition, so they couldn't use like onagers to chop through the trees. I think, right? Regardless, though, what made the match so bad to watch is that Teslano typoed his bitrate, and I recommended him a bitrate of 1000, but Teslano accidentally put in 100 as the bitrate? Like, so can you imagine a 100 bitrate stream of Forest Nothing slow speed Mayans gameplay? Forget if it was actually on the expansions or not, but it was one of the most mind-numbing things I've ever seen. And of course, Teslano attempted to have a commentary throughout the entire thing, so that was unbelievably bad. It was so bad to watch. There's also, of course, that 4 hours Chinese Black Forest game I have on my YouTube channel, which is super old. That one's up there. That's one of the silliest games. I think as far as best games of Age of Empires 2 I've played in, I mean, on the Illuminite channel, that game with PGG, the 4-part Black Forest game, was a pretty good one. But I have a lot of really good ones on my channel. Most of them these days I've casted. Like, I would definitely recommend watching all of the Rise of the Rajas expert tournament games. What am I looking at? An hour and 19 minutes in. Resonance 22 has no idea where he is, who any of you people are, or what he's looking at. Are these Turkish spearmen? Is he retreating? I think he is. What am I looking at? What kind of post-apocalyptic dystopian future do we live in when the Turks aren't making only spearmen on Michi? Yes. That 4-hour Chinese game on my YouTube channel was pretty bad. The longest game of Age of Empires 2 I think I've ever played was actually a 6 hour and 30 minutes of in-game time CBA game. Played on Age of Kings, GameSpy Arcade Online. And this was old CBA. Like, I have a folder that has approximately like 120 different versions of CBA on it. And because back in my day, everyone had their own CBA map. If you joined someone's lobby, and it was ghetto back then, they had their own CBA map. And I would say that 1 in every like 8 to 10 games, the host's CBA map was like modified, so he started with 15 like bombard towers and villagers and shit, or this guy said 9,999 attack, because he edited the map. This game, though, was not like a cheap map or anything, but rather, oh, and by the way, like the names of the CBA maps were just the most ridiculous things ever. They just had like miscellaneous symbols at the end. Yeah, it's like Street Fighter X, CBA X Turbo Remix. This game was so bad. It was a really old CBA map from, I think, like 2007. That's when I played the game. And back in 2007, CBA had no rules, my friends. No rules at all. This means that you could have built... Well, it had a few rules, but there were no limits on the amount of towers that you could have, which was huge. Big if true. And this 6 hours and 30-minute game, like, it went to like 4:30 a.m. My team actually won, so... Fuck you, universe, we won. It's just like the Britons guy had, like, I think I counted 450 keeps or something like that by the end of the game. I was like the Mongols. Eventually we did win, because if you resign in that case, you were objectively a pussy. So I had to stay the entire time. But that game was terrible, though. It did probably take several years off my life expectancy, and I will be paying for that. It's pretty bad. CBA, for those of you who are not aware, is a custom scenario in Age of Empires 2, where you start with 4 castles that automatically create your unique unit, and then when you lose those 4 castles, you lose the game. When one of the castles is dead, it stops spawning units, and the units spawn automatically. This is very, very good for people who either, 1, are just looking for something fun to play, or 2, who are in a coma, because you don't even have to, unlike CBF, Castle Bloodfair, you don't even have to click to spawn the units. They just come out. It's great. Highly skill-intensive gameplay. Now, obviously, I actually like CBA, and I used to play a lot of it. The skill in CBA comes from... Because it doesn't take any skill to create units, so I'm obviously joking. The skill in CBA comes with how you control your army, where you send it, and it's just military tactics. It's a fun little scenario to play, but... And it's nice. I actually prefer CBA over CBF, because you don't have to constantly shift queue your unique unit, and I don't think there's any really skill in that. So, joking aside, I like it. I'm gonna be here for a while. Aha! But Jet Erickson, he's cut, he's in here, but here comes the bombard towers, and here comes my frame rate, and the defensive spearmen waddling in here. Day 29, Yellow does not have enough gold to actually upgrade his spearmen. This is never gonna work. This is the saddest thing I've ever seen. Look, he's got all these villagers underneath here. I'm gonna be here forever. I'm gonna shit. This would be the worst game I've ever posted. It's so bad there's even a militia in here. The first 40 minutes of this game are tremendous, believe me, but the rest of this, low energy, tiny hands, sad. So sad. We had the best players, folks, believe me, and yet you can't get through this wall. Did absolutely nothing to that town center. This is so bad. I don't know how this game is going to end. Does view lock actually work in spectator mode, or is this going to break the game? Oh, it does. That's great. Excellent. Should we call it a draw? I don't know. Blackman says, will you pause the game for my funeral in 50 years? Yes, of course, the Blackmans. It would be the least I could do. I mean, Dre's got no food. Sir Logan's got nothing. Sir Logan has nothing. You wanna know why he's got nothing? His units suck. This happens to be the worst army comp in the history of Age of Empires 2. Nothing pains me more as a guy who has casted expert games since, like, 2008. Wow, has it really been that long? It may have been. And yet, I'm seeing this as potentially the optimal build. I mean, Sir Logan has run out of resources, period. Struggling to maintain maximum population. Jet Erickson has even less population. It's like no food whatsoever. And like a single bombard cannon is all it takes to win the game. Oh, this is just bad. The Slavs even get thumb ring. No, they don't. So, Age of Empires 2 is really interesting from a wide variety of standpoints, but one of them is that not all unit balance is what it seems, because the tooltips in this game are some of the worst I've ever seen in gaming history, such as, but not limited to, fortifications are built faster. Thank you, I feel enlightened. Of course, that was written in mind because all the other tooltips are terrible in this game, and that's just in the flavor of it. It would be out of place if Forgotten Empires just started writing good tooltips for the game. But there are a lot of aspects to this that are kind of hidden. Like, it doesn't show the accuracy of a unit, but one of the reasons why cavalry archers are not so great is that they have a 50% accuracy. I believe crossmen have like 85%, which is 5% more than archers. So that actually makes cavalry archers really bad without thumb ring, unless you're like the Huns. Guess who doesn't have thumb ring? That's right, you guessed correctly. You get 1,000 points. It's the Slavs. The Slavs also don't have bracers, so these are really bad. Please don't make me sit through the whole game. What? Ooh. Someone in the chat said last week, I forget who it was, but it was pretty funny, which was when you hear the Rise of the Rajas music in game, you know the game went on for too long and it's time to leave. He did hit the TC, Korbeck. See, what I don't get is that when I'm streaming, and I start actually showcasing like some really useful educational games where I'm, you know, talking about strategy tips, no one watches. But when absolutely nothing is happening, and we're doing Michi, and these trebuchets just going to the meat. Oh my fucking god, is he gonna win the game? Everyone starts watching. Boom! Boom! Yeah, buddy! Oh my god, the entire time I was wondering, like, how do you win this game? That's how you do it. Hey, that's what I'm talking about! Welcome to the stream, by the way, to Hunter, and hello, Sir Charles. Good to see you. Hello, Maita. Boom! Good to see you as well, Alcabon. Redeemed. It's over. GG! I was wondering, honestly, how you win this game, and that's the only way to do it, is to... You needed to make enough trebuchets that you don't die immediately to the bombard tower shots, and that you just get to deploy and take them down. Wow. I cannot believe that actually worked. But it did, it did. Very, very nice. Very, very nice, my friend. Yeah, he just needed to build enough trebuchets to actually get in there, unpack, and then just take these down. Because the trebs don't die in one of the bombard tower shots, so he just needed to save enough gold by shift selling food and wood at the market to make these trebs, and they managed to actually snipe off Sir Logan, which is insane. That shouldn't be horribly unexpected, because if Sir Logan wins this game as Spearman, then I think we all need to reevaluate our understanding of how strong certain units are. What a crazy game of Age of Empires 2, and easily one of the stupidest ones I have seen in a very, very long time. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this one as much as I did, and if you did, don't hesitate to share it around. Really appreciate it, as well as check out the rest of the stuff on my YouTube channel. We have plenty more Age of Empires 2 content, as well as content for a wide variety of other games, because I do play a wide variety of other games on my channel, not just AoE. Oh my goodness. And of course, if for some reason watching this game makes you think that you really want to play online, then I definitely recommend you watch my Night Rush tutorial. It contains everything you need to know to get started. And I've got also plenty of expert games and your fair share of stupid free-for-all King of the Hill games and whatnot. All that in the description and more. Elite Skirmishers is significantly better, Havel the Rock, but we'll go over that at some point. Thank you, Mem TV, for the host. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mem. Hunter has clipped it nice. That was pretty bad, something random. We've had... This game was actually good, though. Like, it was slow near the end, but there was just enough happening to keep my attention. Sir Logan, 2,988 trade profit. The only one with any trade profit. Ooh.